The late-night atmosphere hummed with anticipation as the crowd welcomed Nicolas Cage with a standing ovation, the house band playing a jazzy, slightly off-kilter rendition of Viva Las Vegas. Cage strode onto the set wearing a vintage leather jacket, boots, worn in, from real use, and an expression that seemed to balance amusement with quiet wariness. Whoopi Goldberg offered a familiar hug as he took his seat across from her at the crescent-shaped interview table. Joy Behar gave him a wink. The energy was warm, even playful. Nicolas leaned in and said, "I always feel like I'm stepping into a lion's den with you ladies, but in a good way," prompting laughter all around. Whoopi teased him about his massive filmography, saying, "Is there a movie you haven't done?" Cage smiled. "There are still a few out there. I've never done a musical about frogs, for example." More laughter. Sonny Hostin joked, yet the first few minutes were classic late-night gold, light-hearted, witty, self-aware. They talked about his new film, a moody psychological thriller set in Iceland, and Cage gave poetic answers about acting from the gut, living honestly, and how volcanic landscapes reminded him of the chaos inside all artists. But the tide began to shift as Sarah Ann, clipboard in hand, subtly steered the conversation toward deeper waters. "So, Nixie," she began, "in recent years, people have noticed a kind of metamorphosis in your public persona. You went from being this unpredictable, almost meme-worthy figure to someone choosing very thoughtful, personal projects. Was there a turning point for you?" Cage's smile stiffened a bit. "I think there's always been thought," he replied. "Even in the chaotic years, there was intention. People just didn't always see it." Joy followed up with a touch more bite. "But don't you think some of those choices, those movies that went straight to streaming with strange plots and low budgets, maybe made people stop taking you seriously for a while?" Cage tilted his head slightly. "Do you stop taking a painter seriously because they use different brushes? Do you stop reading a writer because they experiment? I think audiences underestimate how many outside factors push an actor's hand: taxes, family, lawsuits, life." His voice was even, but his eyes had sharpened. Still, the hosts nodded. They understood. Then came the question from Whoopi. "Nicolas," she said, gently at first, "you've spoken a lot about your financial issues, buying castles, rare comics, private islands. It's kind of legendary. But people still wonder, was there ever a moment when you thought, maybe I need help?" Cage blinked slowly, clearly surprised. "Help," he repeated. "What kind of help?" Whoopi didn't flinch. "Light mental health support, guidance. Because there was a period where it felt like you were spiraling. You say it was all artistic, but from the outside, it looked like desperation." The air in the room thickened. Cage leaned forward, his hands clasped tightly. "That's a hell of an assumption, Whoopi," he said quietly. "You're asking if I lost my mind while I was trying to keep my family fed, keep my dignity, and still honor my craft." He gave a humorless chuckle. "I'm not sure that's a fair question." Whoopi met his stare. "I'm not trying to attack you. I'm trying to understand, because some people see what you did and think it's brave, others see recklessness. I think the audience deserves to know what you see when you look back." Cage took a long pause. "I see a man who didn't quit," he said, "who kept saying yes, because that's what survivors do. I wasn't spiraling, I was working, harder than most people know. And yeah, I made mistakes, I overreached, but I didn't go to rehab. I didn't disappear. I didn't blame anyone. I just kept going." Sonny interjected gently, "But don't you think sometimes perseverance can become a mask, like a way to avoid processing the deeper stuff?" Cage looked down, then up again. "You think I haven't processed it?" His voice was tighter now. "You think I don't lie awake at 3 a.m. wondering what it cost me? I've buried 2 marriages. I missed half my son's childhood flying to Serbia to shoot a film I didn't even believe in. You want raw? That's raw. But I never stopped showing up." The audience had fallen quiet, caught in the undercurrent of real emotion, laced with defiance. Joy tried to steer it back. Lightly, "Well, at least you didn't end up doing a reality show," she quipped. Nicolas didn't laugh. Whoopi wasn't letting go. "Nicolas, it's not about blame. It's about reflection. You've been a cultural icon, a cautionary tale, a comeback king all in the same lifetime. Doesn't part of you want to just say, 'Yeah, I lost control for a bit'?" Cage exhaled slowly. "You want me to say I lost control?" he repeated. "Fine, I lost control. I trusted people I shouldn't have. I spent money like I'd never die. I tried to fill holes with antiques, scripts, and noise, but you know what I never lost?" He stood up now, slow but deliberate. "I never lost the love for the work. The weird roles, the small sets, the one-take wonders. That's still mine. That's all I ever cared about." Whoopi raised an eyebrow. "Then why walk away now?" Cage stared at her for a beat. "Because I thought this was a conversation," he said, voice low. "Not a courtroom." He pulled off his microphone, the wire dragging audibly across the floor as he laid it on the seat behind him. "I respect this show," he said, facing the audience now. "I respect the questions. But I won't sit here and have my entire career framed as some tragic arc. I'm not a cautionary tale. I'm an artist." And with that, he turned and walked off stage. The studio held its breath. A few gasps, a few awkward claps. The camera cut to Whoopi, who looked equal parts unfazed and contemplative. "Well," she said, "that happened." Joy added, "Tune in tomorrow when we ask Keanu Reeves if he's ever had an emotional breakdown in a parking lot." Laughter followed, but it was thin. The moment lingered like smoke in the air. That night, social media lit up. Hashtag #CageOnTheView and hashtag #WalkOffMoment trended within minutes. Some viewers called it brave. Others called it fragile. Clips of the confrontation spread across Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube like wildfire. Opinion was split. Was Cage defending his integrity, or dodging accountability? Was Whoopi pushing boundaries, or crossing a line? Commentators dissected the body language, tone, and timing. No public statement came from Cage's team that evening. Just a black and white photo he posted to Instagram, a shadowed hallway with the caption, "I walked through fire. I'm not afraid of a few questions." The post went viral in less than an hour. The next morning, The View opened with no direct mention of the walk-off. But Whoopi said during the intro, "Sometimes conversations get uncomfortable. That's part of the deal. We wish Nicolas well." No apology, no clarification. Just space. Fans speculated if Cage would address the incident on another platform, maybe a podcast. Maybe a written op-ed, but days passed, and he remained silent. But the impact had already been made. People weren't just talking about the moment, they were arguing over what it meant. To be a celebrity, to be misunderstood, to be a performer, aging in public under the weight of his own myth. In the days that followed, it became one of those viral moments that outgrew the show itself. The kind of clip reshared with captions, like when keeping it real goes wrong, or this is what it means to stand your ground. It wasn't just about the tension, it was about the unspoken layers, aging, pressure, reinvention, and the invisible cost of enduring fame. No tidy conclusion, no last word interview. Just the image of Nicolas Cage walking off a talk show, not with fury, but with the weight of a man who finally refused to be summarized.